Welcome to the 7 Laws of the Learner video series. We're currently in Law 6, the Law of Equipping. And now, here to tell you more about the Law of Equipping is our teacher, Dr. Bruce Wilkinson.
Our responsibility in this session is to give you a method of how do you equip somebody else to do something. How do you equip somebody else to do something? It's interesting when you study the great companies in our country and the great companies around the world, and you look at how they spend their money. The great companies spend their money doing a certain thing that mediocre companies don't spend their money doing, and the poor companies never spend their money doing. What is it? Training. Training their employees to do their work better. When you take a look at the best companies, it's not unusual that during a year, they'll spend between 40 and 60 hours of the employee's time during the year training them how to do it better. Then on top of that, they have the employee give sometimes up to that number of hours again on personal time training themselves. They give them videos, watch this at home. Take this audio course, go attend this seminar. The mediocre companies, if the employee says, "Can I go to this conference?" "I don't know, we'll check in the budget." Probably not. Now, if you want a real shocker, take a look at the, quote, company called the church. And check how much money is invested in training people to do the work of the ministry out of the annual budget. In most churches' budget that I've looked at, you can't find it. At our organization, we believe that training is the wave of the future because it equips people to do the work of the ministry that we're called to do. So we've instituted a number of things at our organization. One of them is called the Institute for Excellence. And twice a year, for 4 nights, twice a year, employees on their own time, they come for a whole block of time for 4 Monday nights in a row in which we give different classes, from intermediate and basic computers to Lotus to management and leadership skills. This past I4E, Institute for Excellence, we trained the entire organization all about accounting and finances so they can read a balance sheet, they understand about a cash flow, they understand about budgeting. Why? Because we want our people to be a part of the team. And if you're part of the team, you need to know what I know as the president. You need to know the numbers. You need to understand the numbers. So by the time that whole series was over, people are saying, "Oh, now I understand what accrual is, and now I understand what inventory and cash flow looks like." And now as they're involved in making their budgets for the next year of ministry, they're understanding what's going on. Institute for Excellence. We've equipped them, and we're going to keep on equipping them. Now, how do you equip someone to do something? There are 5 steps that you can lead someone through that are so helpful in equipping somebody to do the work. On our Apple method, on the top left-hand box, let's put down the word teacher. And you can put down the word boss beneath that. You can put the word coach beneath that. You can put the word parent beneath that. On the right-hand side, let's put down the word student, employee, if that's what you call the people who work where you work, players, children. Now, what do we typically do when you think about equipping somebody to do something? Here's what it seems to me. Somebody comes in and we just give them some time, right? You've been here a while now. It's great. Plus some guilt. And plus some exhortation. We need some more Sunday school teachers for our 6th grade boys, and we need 6 right now, and we're going to keep on talking about this until 6 of you raise your hand. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You know what training looks like? Come see me afterwards. This is DCE, Director of Christian Education. Afterwards, these 6 people came over, and of course, they've prayed about this, and they've never taught. And they come up, "Yes, what's the training going to be?" "Well, here's the manual. Go get them next week." Does that sound familiar? No wonder 80 to 90% of people who attend our classes think they're boring and irrelevant, because we've never trained our people to teach. And we think just because you love God and you have a quarterly or something like that, that you're going to be automatically a good teacher. What a wild idea that is. That's why we're having this course. That's why we have the other course with Dr. Howard Hendricks called The 7 Laws of the Teacher. Why? To equip you as best as we can to come alongside of the local church and the Christian school movement and people who are involved in the secular marketplace. Why? These principles are true for everyone in anything. So this law of equipping. Step number 1 is a step I'm going to call instruct. Instruct. This is where you have the people, you're trying to train them to do something, where they sit down and you educate them. This is where you prepare them. So you give them the information. Now, after that step is over, the next thing you want to do is you want to show them what this looks like. Let's say you're telling them, you're trying to teach them how to witness. You should sit them down and talk about sin and how to share your faith and go through all the information. The second thing you need to do, however, is to go on and illustrate it. What does it look like? This is where you expose to them how that information works in real life. You kind of give them a preview, a preview. You should do this in a safe environment. That is, you could say to somebody, okay, I'll be the person witnessing to you. Come on up and let's have a discussion. You can throw me any question you want. And then you start doing it. The next thing you want to do is move into the part where you have them getting involved in a safe way. And the word there is involve. Involve. They get some experience under their belt. You have them go through a practicum. You're doing it together here. Now, eventually, you need to stop doing it, and you need to let them do it. And that's step number 4, and that's where you try to help them improve. Improve. Help them become more efficient. Efficient. Work on helping them improve their performance. You help them perform. In time, then, you kind of back out of the process. And you see them from time to time after that training process is over, and you want that ball to keep on going. And that's the word inspire. Inspire. You want to encourage them to keep on keeping on. Help them perfect their traits. In the first box, I suppose you could say, I tell you. I tell you how to do it. In the second box, you could say, you watch me. Watch me how I do it. Box 3, we do together. We do together. Box number 4 is, I watch you. And box number 5, if you want to keep them going, is keep it up. Keep it up. In the first box, you are the teacher. You sit down and tell them. In the second box, you are the model. That is, they watch you do it. In the third box, you are playing the role of a coach, a player coach, I guess you could say, a player coach. Box number 4. This is the place where you want to kind of keep them going, and I guess you could use the word a motivator here. And lastly, when you kind of back away and you see them from time to time, you become a mentor. A mentor. Now, those are the 5 steps that you train anybody to do anything. From teaching your young girl how to make a cake. You sit down with your young girl and you say, this is how you make a cake. You put the eggs in and the oil and the butter. Now watch me make the cake. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, now, here, you've watched me break an egg, now the involved one. Now you try breaking the egg. No, don't put the white shells in there. Take those shells out. That's good, sweetheart. Let's try it again. In fact, let's not try it over this bowl. Let's try it over this bowl. No, try it with two hands like this. Improve it. Okay, now, all by yourself. I'm not going to touch you now. You can do it. I know you can do it. In fact, next week, can you make the cake for us? If you were to make the cake, what part would be the hardest for you? Breaking the eggs or mixing it, or what do you think? Do you want me to help you next week, or do you think you want to try it on your own? Surprise Dad. Get the point? You're teaching somebody how to play tennis. This is same for everything. Let me tell you how you play tennis. See the lines, doubles, etc., score. Let me show you how you hit the ball. This is how you hit the ball. Now, stand right here. Shake my hand. Good. Now, just let go for a minute. That's how you hold the racket. Let me get around you here. Now, bend your knees. Relax, relax, relax. Let me watch you two guys play. That's great. See you later. And tell them, show them. Do it together. Watch them. Get out of the way. Let's give you some tips now as we move along of how do you get the most out of this method. Number one, train your students until they're successful, independent users of the skill. We make a major mistake here, and that mistake is we teach until a person knows, not we teach until a person does. I can remember taking so many classes at college. I remember taking a class on evangelism, a whole semester long. Not once did we have to witness. You know what the final exam was? A repetition of all the information. Why? The teacher defined teaching as causing you to know. We were not equipped. In my opinion, one of the greatest seminaries in all the world exists in Africa. Before you can graduate from the seminary, you have to plant a church. You have to plant a church. In their mind, they say, if you can't plant a church, you can't be a pastor. Can you imagine how school becomes very helpful? Kid says, I want to graduate. Tell me again. How do I do that? Come over and show me how to do that, will you? Do you understand? We graduate people who can't preach. We've never led a person to the Lord. Why? Because we have in our mind, teaching is information. What do you have in your mind? If I listened to the last class you did, right in front of you, you got a class of 12. You know what you have? You have 12 lay ministers, just like you. With 12 people on your team, you can take over a hospital if you wanted, or an orphanage, or you could take over a block and say, let's claim this block to the Lord, and let's get a strategy of how to do it. Next, reproduce yourself by focusing on their skill, not your style. That is so important. When you first start training somebody else, you know what you're going to be tempted to do? Have them do it the way you do it. I don't know about what other schools are like, but at our school where I went, there was a couple professors who were the cream of the crop. And you could tell the freshmen in the school because they were the ones who copied the mannerisms of one of those three teachers. And anytime you saw them speak in that first year, they would copy the mannerisms. Say, oh, man, I'm looking at one of those little, one of the little teachers. Because they